of the alcohol, la 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 la. Just line 'em up and we will drink them all, la 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 la. But my mother always said, if you want to drink all day, you best start in the morning, son, 'cause that's the Irish way. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every other mother will agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every mother must agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me, and you and me, and you and me. Let there be whiskey.
Stream starting.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Nerds with Alcohol. I'm Chris.
I'm Russ.
And good, the mics are working right now. So this is episode 238. Right here in the Nerd Basement.
Welcome back to the virtual nerd basement, everybody.
Hey, CD.
Hey, CD. Always there at the start.
Yep.
Thank the gods for it. 238, guys. It was a beautiful day here in lovely southeastern Michigan.
I wouldn't know I was stuck in an office all day.
Yeah, it was a lovely day. Upper 70s, low 80s, kind of just a nice breeze, and it was just a lovely day. It's too bad I was in my studio all day, but when I'm in my studio, I'm kind of outside too. So we had a big group of volunteers came into work today, and they did a pretty good job. Unfortunately, we didn't have a ton for them to do, but everything they did do, they got done and got done well with it well. And one of our oldest volunteers came in today too. We kind of gave him a retiring, during COVID, gave him like a retiring party.
Mm-hmm. A retirement party.
Retirement, because like he's 93, 92, somewhere in there, and his family was like, Dad, Grandpa, probably not a great idea for you to be driving in and working all day at the parade company anymore. And he's been doing it for like 30 some odd years. And I've actually been watching him over the last 9 years really kind of and everything we paint, so we have to like pretty much repaint and or at least give it a second coat, and it's just, he's a sweet old man. He's really great. I'm gonna adore him. He's a great guy. But unfortunately, he just, it was a surprise to see him. So
well, staying active keeps you young. So.
It does. And I'm sure that probably working at the parade company was one of the things that kept him feeling, young and spry and whatever else. But at the same time, you're like, good Lord, man. Stay home, please.
Pretty spry for an old guy.
Yeah, he is pretty spry for an old guy. And I didn't want to take it away from him. I didn't want to be like, oh, you can't do this anymore, man. Because he is a really nice guy, and he's a friend. I mean, we're pals. He comes in and he usually works with me. He's a Korean War vet, and he's just a sweet guy. And I just feel bad that I actually had to go to the woman that kind of coordinates a lot of the volunteer stuff. And I was like, Kim, I feel like I worry about him. I worry about him driving in, and I worry about him just walking around the studio. He's much slower now. He doesn't, he forgets things. Like I can't tell him 3 colors. I can maybe tell him 2 colors, and now it's like, now I give him like 1 color to paint, because he can't remember it. So, but other than that, lovely couple of days. I still have not seen The Black Widow.
I have not either, and I really need to, because now we're starting to get into where other movies are coming out.
Right, and it's not as readily, the schedule of the showings are not as grand. You're a lot more limited now. And I was going to go and see it with my friends Jess and Andy, but haven't been able to schedule anything between Stella's schedule and Jessica's schedule and mine and everybody else's. It's just like, I'm like, oh man. So, and I really don't want to spend the $30. I really kind of want to see it at the theater. I've seen all of the Marvel movies at the theater. I want to see this one at the theater.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think if there was any one that I didn't see at the theater.
I've seen every single
But
one.
I think I've seen all of them at the theater. There was one I didn't see for a while, but I think I still saw it at the theater. I just don't remember which one that was now. But
and then next Monday, I'm going to go and see Suicide Squad with one of my friends, Shadow. They rented out, like pretty much got rented out the entire theater.
oh, cool.
And yeah, I mean, it wasn't that bad. It was only like $260 or something like that, and for 20 people or something. It was under $300. 20 people. And they were even like, yeah, you know, if you want to chip in, you can chip in. And we're like, of course I'm going to chip in. I mean, I'll pay, you know, $15 or $12 or whatever it was, you know, whatever it cost for Sal and I. And, but yeah, we're totally next Monday after work going to see the Suicide Squad.
Cool. I'm going to be in Nashville, well, outside of Nashville next weekend for the granddaughter's first birthday. It was actually yesterday.
Oh, that's you're gonna go and celebrate that.
Yep. And which reminds me, I need to order her gifts. We've got them picked out. We just haven't ordered them yet because I've been so damn busy. I keep forgetting to jump online. But the well, I just lost my train of thought too. Oh, Suicide Squad. It actually comes out Thursday, I believe it is, on HBO, as well as when it hits the theaters.
What, Suicide Squad?
Yeah,
it does. Yeah, thankfully, and I do have Suicide Squad, or I do have HBO Max. So
right, so do I. So there's a chance, depending on how I'm feeling that night, I may, when I get home from golf, I may just pop it on and actually stay up, and then just try and take a nap on the plane the next day on the way down.
There you go.
Our flight out actually is until 9:00 at night, but.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, since Shadow went the distance to get this, I was like,
yeah,
okay, you know.
But yeah, so I want to see that. My buddy actually just hit me up today, going, "Hey, you got anything going on tomorrow?" And unfortunately, I did have something going on because he's like, "Oh, okay, I forgot about that." I said, "Yeah." I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "I got free passes to go see Free Guy at an early screening."
Should have went.
Well,
wait a minute. When is this? Is that tonight?
No, tomorrow night.
Or tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Go, dude.
I got a meeting at the curling club tomorrow that I've already committed to. So
okay.
I did just see this is something I was going to talk about later, but we can talk about it real quick right now because it's not something I was going to really get into. But there's a new trailer for New Guy or Free Guy.
Free Guy.
And it looks fucking hilarious. It shows Ryan Reynolds as Dude, which is like it's Taika Waititi's creation as like the bad guy to fight the Free Guy.
Oh, okay.
And he's got like he's like super huge, buffed out, like bigger than Schwarzenegger type of guy, and he's got on his one pec, he's got a tattoo of the blue shirt that Ryan Reynolds wears as the main character.
I saw this. I was perusing Instagram or something the other day. I can't remember, one of the various things, and I came across this guy who it was a TikTok or whatever that he had put up, because that's the thing, you know, a lot of people link their TikToks with their Instagram and all this goddamn mess.
Yep.
And this guy, he showed himself doing a really good Ryan Reynolds impression, and he was about how you do it. Well, the first thing you do is you drop it down here. It's all in the inflection, honestly, for the way Ryan Reynolds speaks. But you go, first you drop it down here, you know, drop your voice down here, because he is a little on the deeper side, but it's like a soft, his voice is deep but soft. It's weird. But
anyway, I don't think his voice is that deep. It's just really soft.
It is soft, but it's a baritone. It's a deeper, you know, it's not like he's not a bass, but he's a baritone. So anyway, I don't think he's an alto anyway, but then it flashed, then it moved to another, goes, now doing an impression of Ryan Reynolds, showing you how to do an impression of Ryan Reynolds under pressure. And then he turns the camera of his phone, and Ryan Reynolds is sitting right next to him, looking at him like, and he goes, And he goes, well, first you drop your voice down here. And he goes, and then you hear Ryan Reynolds go, nope. And he goes, good call. And he just gets up and leaves. I was like, all right, first of all, is that guy an actor? And did he know Ryan Reynolds? Because it looked like he was sitting next to him at like an audition or something. But you got to know Ryan Reynolds probably doesn't audition as much anymore.
Yeah.
He probably
he's just offered parts.
He gets offered parts, or somebody goes, hey, I got this great script. Do you want to do it? And he'd be like, or I wrote a movie with you in mind. Please do my movie, that kind of thing. But it's just really funny. It's like,
which is being offered a part.
Hmm?
Which is also being
offered
a part.
Being offered a part. But I mean, there's a difference though. There is a difference between being offered a part and having a movie written for you. I mean, that's the thing. There are some actors out there that movies are written with them in mind specifically, like Will Smith, Tom Hanks, now Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman was another one. These guys are, they're basically they get handed these scripts. I wrote this movie and I want you to play the character. And then they're like, I don't know, man. It's just, or, wow, this is awesome. I want to do this. I'll bet Ryan Reynolds is like, fuck yeah, I want to be in this Free Guy movie. Absolutely.
And just imagine what he did when someone offered him Green Lantern.
This is it. This is the big time.
Yes, Free Guy does look very meta.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And all the previews have been like Deadpool reviewing it, or it's actually him talking as Ryan Reynolds and how he got all jacked to play dude. And he's like, sure. And he picks up the Deadpool costume and he's like, sure, I don't fit into the Deadpool costume anymore. But everything's about, growth hormones. And
that's funny. So I'm going to read this. This is really funny. A post that Stella made earlier. I was telling my therapist about some of my habits that keep my anxiety somewhat under control. For example, I walk Dresden with 2 collars attached to each other with a double-sided clip. So if one breaks, he's still connected to the leash. She paused and started laughing. Therapist, your boyfriend must adore you. Pause, more laughter. And your dog, that sounds like something out of an S&M video. When even your therapist thinks you're weird. It's very true. It's very fucking true. Because she's weird. So how was your week? What was your week like?
Well, Friday we tried to have our game.
Right, we did.
And that pissed me off so much that I was about to scrap everything and say, fuck it, I'm done. I'm really getting fed up with the way Forge is being run. I understand it's a one-man operation, and it's an amazing feat that I couldn't do because I don't have the knowledge, but right. It also a lot of times feels like it doesn't have his full attention. And when he's making as much as I've seen that he's making off his Patreon and from what I'm sure is from the subscriptions, just based on what I've seen and heard, that should be his full-time focus.
Dude, totally. Or at the very least, he needs to maybe hire more people or do something to
I know he's been trying to hire people to help. He's just been having a hard time finding people like everywhere.
Sure. But yeah, it kept hanging on us. It kept, there's so much like lag and everything. And
part of that was I think the actual like Jitsi servers we were using, which technically isn't him, but it's still the audio video for your program.
Right.
That wasn't working right. So yeah, I'm trying. Renee and I worked on getting the actual Nerd Basement cleared out some over the weekend. Got a bunch of stuff put away. We still got to figure out where we're putting a bunch of stuff that like we really got into painting with over COVID, and that was our painting desk, our painting table. So we've got like paints and models and all sorts of stuff just spread out over there, and we've got them somewhat organized, but now we're trying to figure out how we can better organize them so that we can still have them for when we're not playing. We can still pull them out because it's still the best place for us to actually paint is going to be on that table.
Sure.
So now it's a matter of how do we pack them up so that we're not destroying anything or damaging anything that's in the middle of being worked on,
Mm-hmm.
but still have it accessible for when we do. Oh, hey,
Right.
Sneak just hosted us. Thanks a
Oh,
lot,
hey,
Sneak
great. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Good evening to you too. But yeah, so that's the big thing. Is trying to figure that out. I'm hoping. Unfortunately, I don't have this weekend to work on it, but I'm hoping like during the next week I can get it done enough to get things set up for next Friday. Not this week, but next week, to where we can actually get together and actually try everything out and not necessarily play our game. I think we're going to be on hiatus for that until the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
But to test everything out by playing like Red Dragon Inn or something like that with a bunch of us.
Yeah.
I also talked to one of my buddies about being on the actual show and joining the cast, and he was up for it. I just got to talk to him a little bit more. I think you know him, Bob.
This is by Bob.
Yeah.
We have, of course, I know Bob. Yeah, not near as well as you do, but I know Bob. We still would like to get one more though.
Yeah.
And I think another lady would be great.
I do too.
So we need to kind of ask around, look around.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the two ladies that I asked were not available to commit to it. So
well, it's a
commitment.
It's a commitment. It is a major commitment. So, hopefully they can do it, but or hopefully we can find somebody that can jump in and do that stuff.
Yep.
So we'll see. We also I was not involved with it, but over the weekend the Renaissance Festival kickoff party happened on Sunday at Eastern Market, and apparently it was a bit of a mess, but still a relative success. So that's good, I guess. I don't know. I have been kind of quiet about it on the show, but for those of you guys who watch the show, listen to the show, I will not be doing makeup at the Renaissance Festival this year. I haven't really said a whole lot about it, but my contract was not renewed, and I still have not spoken to the general to the management yet. I'm probably going to do that fairly within the next week or so. I did find out through the rumor mill basically that it didn't have anything to do with what I thought. It was something else, and it was still bullshit. So, but I will still be at the Renaissance Festival in my, as far as I know anyway, in my ogre character working for the mermaids. So come out and see us. Gonna be weird.
Ogres and mermaids. Oh my.
Mm-hmm. No, we got some great bits and whatnot. So people are like, well, I've had a few people go, well, fuck that, I'm not going there anymore. I'm like, no, hey, go to the Renaissance Festival. It's still a great place, even if there are problems, with management and the way it's run and stuff like that. It's still a great place. Go and support the artists and the bands. And there was an announcement, I don't know if you saw this, that Tartanic will be back at Michigan Ren Fair this year.
Oh, no, I did not.
Yeah. They will not have the dancing girls, though, from what I understand. They, from what Jill posted on Facebook, was that the festival did not have it in the budget for the entire band. So we can only afford this much, which meant the pipers and the drummers, but not the girls, not the dancing girls. So it will be a bit more of a stripped down show, so to speak.
Well, I don't know. With them, it could be a stripped down show.
Exactly. That's why I said so to speak. Not right.
Especially near the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. So, what else? My week was just same old stuff. Work, D&D on Friday night that ended up being a bit problematic, as you were saying. But just kind of. Oh, you know what I did do? Saturday night. So my friend Jessica is a topless dancer. One night a week at the Legends bar in downtown Detroit. The rest of the week she's a hairdresser. She does very well, but she also was a go-go dancer and then became a supplemental income. And her girlfriend, Andy, calls me up or texts me and was like, hey, I haven't been out since the beginning of COVID. And I was going to head down to the club to see Jess. You want to come and hang out? I was like, you know what? Yeah, that sounds like fun. I mean, why not? I haven't done that in a real long time. So I met them up and I drove downtown, and I was amazed at how many people were out and about in the streets. Like, it was packed in that area. The club is right next to St. Andrews Hall, which is a
Okay.
major concert. For those of you guys listening and don't know the area, it is a major concert venue in downtown Detroit. And a lot of rock bands go there, a lot of alternative, a lot of rap artists. It's a major concert venue, but also at the same time, not like a stadium. It's more of a theater.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's right next to there. And it took me it took me a good 15 minutes just to make 2 turns to get into the parking lot. I paid $20 to park. It was a crazy sauce. And because it was premium time parking, I went in. Thankfully, we were on the list because the admission was $20 each. And then one of the managers of the club was somebody that I had worked with years ago when I worked in the strip bar industry. So, and she bought us a couple of drinks, and it was just like, oh, okay, great. So I didn't end up being an expensive night. What was wild to me was the excesses of what was going on in this club. This club is a very upscale club, but it was just, and from what I understand, it was an average night. It wasn't super busy, but it looked fucking busy to me. Let me tell you, the thousands of dollars of singles that were just being essentially thrown in the air, and just raining down on these strippers. They were making it rain, and these girls on stage and these guys that were in some of the booths that were just like, it's just like this excessive amount of money. And even for somebody that spent roughly 12 years working in those bars, even I was kind of like, man, this is kind of nuts, Things have changed a lot in some of these clubs, the way they do things and whatnot, and particularly in these really upscale ones. The music was all rap, and it was like, I mean, I knew the DJ too, and I went and talked to him, and I'm like, Aaron, I don't think I could never DJ in a club like this. I know I have really kind of backed away from knowledge of too much in the way of pop music. I pay attention to rock and some of the stuff that's on the riff and whatnot, but when it comes to modern pop music, I don't know, fuck all. And the same thing with rap. And Aaron, who's an old school rock and roll guy, he was in a hair band when he was a teenager in his early 20s. He's right around your age. I think he might be a year or two older actually than you. And he was like, Russ, I probably know more about rap and hip hop now than I do about what's popular in rock. And I was like, excuse me. I was like, dude, that's sad. So it was an interesting evening because I just like the spectacle of it was just striking, really incredible. So, but that was my Saturday night. That was an interesting Saturday night. So,
cool.
Yeah, it was fun though.
My Saturday night was hanging out with some friends, including a friend from Wisconsin that came in.
Oh, right on.
It was cool to see him.
Cool. Very, very cool. So what are you drinking, my brother?
I am drinking a beer that I got actually Sunday in a growler. I don't have a can, but I do have the growler. Oops, where is it? There it is. The growler. It's always backwards. To show me.
Well, wait, I like it actually, maybe. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, it's in a koozie. It's actually in a koozie. It's actually a growler koozie. But this is a red, which is very. You can't really see it through there, but I can see it, and it is a nice brownish red color. It has a very biscuity smell to it, a very biscuity aroma, very very malty. It's all malt flavors. It's an Irish red. It is called where is it? I just pulled it up here so I can see it. There it is. Irish Red Envy by Brown Iron Brewing. It's actually one of theirs. They're actually a beer bar that has like 70, 80 beers on tap,
Mm-hmm.
and a chunk of them are theirs. Oh wow, Gary Hoey. Sneak Coots looking to see Gary Hoey at the Magic Bag in Ferndale in December.
Wow.
Yeah, CD. Gary Hoey is a local guitar player who got really popular here for doing rocked up Christmas music on guitar, on electric guitar.
Yeah.
And he's really good. If you look up Ho Ho Hoey online, you'll find a bunch of his stuff. His version of You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch is just incredible. I love that.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
But anyway, so back to this. It is. I'm going to take a step here. It is very, very good. It is all malt flavors. It's a little sweet, but it's got that that malt finish that's really good. If you like Irish Reds, this is a good one. They do not package. They do not sell it in stores. But if you're ever in the Detroit area, they have 2 locations. It's a really great place, and their food's good and their beers are really good too. But yeah, Irish Red Envy. I'm gonna say that's probably a good solid four bottle caps for that one. It's a good Irish Red.
All right,
And
4 caps.
That's interesting. That's something I didn't know. Niku says that Gary Hoey tried out for Ozzy, but Randy Rhoads got the job.
I did not know that.
So.
Gary Hoey. Yeah.
Yep. So, all right. So, what are you drinking?
I am drinking. I have reviewed this before when it first came out, but I thought I'd revisit it. I'm drinking Sunrise Bay tonight from B Nectar. It is a mead.
We both reviewed that one the same night.
Yeah, we did because it was, like I said, it was very, very new. It is a mead from B Nectar. It's fantastic, and the name is hang on. The name is is referenced from the show Schitt's Creek, and because it's Sunrise Bay was the show that the mother character was on for many, many years, and it's pretty good. It is a pineapple mead. When life feels like you've taken a trip up Schitt's Creek and seemingly everyone is acting like a disgruntled pelican, one might kill for a good coma, but no. Try a little Sunrise Bay. It's light, it's easy, and as fabulous as knowing how to work a room of fragile egos. Now let's raise a glass or can and cheers to your possible beauty. Don't forget to tweet us on Facebook. Best wishes, warmest regards. And it's I am currently watching the show, and it's fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, the first season's a little rough.
A little rough. It's a little cringy.
Yeah,
is what it is. The first season's a little cringy. But you get through the first, and by the end of the season, you're like, okay,
yeah.
No, I'd even say about midway through.
I watched like the first 3 episodes. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do this show.
Because it's cringy, but then you get about halfway through, and you're like, okay, no, I get it, I get where they're going here.
And they start developing some of the characters. I mean, honestly, I don't care for the mom or the dad. I like the kids. I love Stevie.
Yeah, Stevie's great.
And Stevie and David's relationship is like one of my favorite things in the entire show.
Oh, it's so funny. I loved how they the show is over. I mean, they did 5 seasons, I think 5 or it might have been
5 seasons, yeah.
5 seasons and they're done. And so it's done. So I'm not gonna worry about spoilers. And it's been done for like a year. I'm not gonna worry about spoilers. But at one point in the first season, Stevie and David get together, and they have a couple of nights where they sleep together a couple of times, and then they realize that they're better as friends, that they're just better as friends, and but there's a point where, because David is obviously LGBTQ, and
he's bi. He says that in the show.
Yeah. Well, later on, but he's obviously. They don't say that right away, but you can tell from his mannerisms and whatnot, and mode of speech and everything, that he's not completely straight. And but he does end up getting together with this young woman, Stevie. And which I guess for those of you who don't know the show and don't know the characters, you might that's like that's a little weird, but or that's unclear. But anyway, yes, this young woman Stevie who works at the hotel that they or the motel that they live in, and she at first she goes up to him and she goes, "So I only drink red wine, and I thought maybe you also only drank red wine." And so I'm a little confused. And he looks at it. He goes, "Oh, I see." He goes, "Well, I do like red wine, but I also like white wine. And sometimes I like a rosé. And sometimes I like a what was it? A Cabernet that used to be a red or something. He said some other stuff, but it was like it put it into perspective. Like he was either pansexual or bisexual or something like that. And then, from what I understand, he does end up coming out in the show much later on. But I was just like, man, this show is fucking great.
What season are you on?
We're still in. I mean, we've been kind of slowly getting through. We're near the end of second season, so
okay.
Because we've been watching other things as well.
Because it gets better even after the second season.
Yeah.
I mean, the growth of Alexis's character throughout the entire show is amazing. Oh, yeah.
That's what I've heard. Just her alone, her growth alone is enough to make people go, "Oh, okay. No, I
ew, David.
David, ew. David, ew." It's so funny. It's one of the funniest. For me, it's one of the funniest things I think is just her characterization.
Renee put it in there. I used to date a Merlot that used to be a Chardonnay.
That's what it is. Yeah. And it's just so fucking good. And so yeah, guys, Schitt's Creek it's on Netflix. The entire series is on Netflix. It's out of Canada. It was written by Eugene Levy and his son Daniel Levy.
Who is David? They're both in the show.
And his daughter is also on the show as Twyla, who's
Twyla's awesome too.
Yeah, Eugene Levy's daughter Twyla is she plays Twyla. It was somebody who lives in the town and the premise is that these rich people, these immensely half-a-billionaire kind of people, they get taken by their accountant. Their accountant basically doesn't pay their taxes, takes a bunch of their money, and so other assets get seized by the government, and then they are broke.
And the only thing they still have is this town they bought as a joke.
Yeah, they actually bought a town. How the hell you buy a town, I don't know. But they buy a town. And so they're like, well, I guess we're moving to this town. So they do. And hilarity ensues. And I'm not going to say much more. Chris Elliott is in it. And didn't you say that one of the things you don't like Chris Elliott?
I hate Chris Elliott. Absolutely
one of the things that kind of held you back from being on there to watch. Yeah.
Yep. And he's still my least favorite thing in that entire show. I cannot stand him. He is the most cringe-worthy thing in that show.
Yeah, yeah. I think he is. I think I'd have to agree. He is probably one of the most cringe-worthy parts and stuff. But it's out of Canada. It's it's a Canadian show, and Canadian television, it's good stuff, man. There's some really great. It's a great example of Canadian comedy.
I'm looking forward to Letterkenny seasons.
Oh my God. Yeah. Letterkenny coming up soon. Also, What We Do in the Shadows. Yeah, What We Do in the Shadows season 3 is coming up in September. And I think next week is Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Next week is What If.
And What If, yes, correct.
Which is on the list of things to talk about, because I just watched another trailer for it today. And
I also did hear, though, that they, because of COVID, they're one episode short than they were expecting.
For What If?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, so.
I don't know. I want to see the Undead Avengers. That's one I want to see.
Yeah, the zombie What If, basically. Yeah. So
I'm looking forward to that one, and I'm really looking forward to Captain Carter.
Yes, yeah, Captain Britain.
Yeah, she actually says she's Captain Carter in the preview.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she says I'm Captain Carter.
Well, it's going to be What If is going to be great. I'm really looking forward to that. I've always loved the What If books, and we've talked about it on the show before. What If was a line of comic books from Marvel Comics where they took a substantial story point, some big deal story that happened in Marvel, and then tweaked it and changed it, and saw like, okay, this is what if something else happened, or what if, and the show is like, what if Peter Quill wasn't kidnapped by the Ravagers? What if it was T'Challa as a child and he became Star-Lord? Or what if
Killmonger saved Tony Stark?
Right. What if Killmonger saved Tony Stark? What if Steve Rogers did not become Captain America? What if they, Peggy Carter was given the Super Soldier Serum? So,
well, at one point they show like her riding on the back of Ironmonger.
Yeah, well, basically, Tony's father, Howard, makes an Iron Man suit and then puts Steve in it. That's what I understand. So Steve is inside this prototypical Iron Man armor that they made during the war, and so yeah, there's kind of some really cool stuff. I'm really excited to see where they go next. I was just perusing Facebook, and I was noticing apparently Ginny D has not finished campaign 2 of Critical Role. She's on episode 134.
I'm on 135.
Okay, you're right there. And she goes, I'm still working my way through the end of campaign 2. I'm on 134 now, which means I have fewer than 10 episodes left. And to be honest, I am starting to panic. I've known it was ending for so long now, but it's really starting to sink in now. And I know this won't be the last we see of the Mighty Nine. I know they'll always be here in these 141 episodes when I want to revisit them. And I know campaign 3 will also be lovable. And I know that it's good to end something rather than drag it out until it loses meaning. But despite all of this knowledge, it's still so hard to say goodbye to something that's been this meaningful to me. I know the final episode is going to absolutely wreck me, but until then, onward. And it shows a picture of her in her
Jester outfit.
She looks great. So
she's done a fantastic Jester for years now, and
yeah, she really has.
And I think she's just absolutely hilarious when she does it too, because she does the voice and everything. And well, it's not Laura's voice; it's still close enough that
she's really good, and she does the accent.
And honestly, the video for Jester's mom is fucking hilarious.
It is really funny. She collaborated with some other cosplay artists that she knows in where she lives. I believe she lives in Colorado.
She does,
and she knows some other really great cosplay artists, and she got them together and was like, please do your Ford and please do your Ruby of the Sea, and we're going to do this. And I believe she wrote the parody song.
Yeah, and it's based on Stacy's mom,
right?
By Fountains of Wayne.
Jester's mom, and it's really fucking funny. It is really good.
Really, really funny.
Guys, be sure to check out Jenny D on Instagram and Facebook and
amazing cosplayer.
She's a really great cosplayer, and she's not just. I mean, more than that too. She got introduced to D&D relatively recently, within like the last couple of years, and she has dove in head first.
I knew her I found her years ago doing parody videos, because she's the one that did the a character I used to know,
yes,
which was based on Game of Thrones, and it's her and her friend who she used to do all the videos with.
Right.
They would do all these songs. They did a bunch of Hogwarts songs, and then they also did that one, and they were like putting up like shrines to all the characters that died in season 1 of Game of Thrones.
Right. Yeah, she did a lot of really great parody stuff, and then she got into doing cosplay, and she was doing like essentially doing instructional videos on how to do various different things. She made this really cute centaur costume, and she showed people how she built it. She really some great stuff. She actually, a friend of mine is a friend of hers, because they worked together at the Colorado Renaissance Festival years ago. It's my friend Laura Wald knows her. And she was the one that introduced me to Ginny D when she was still doing the Harry Potter parody videos and stuff. And but she's grown a great deal as a cosplay artist. And then she got into Dungeons and Dragons, and now does a lot of videos about instructional stuff about being a better role player and about playing the game better and character stuff and stuff. She basically took her knowledge of acting and and whatnot, and character and writing and character building and stuff, and turned it into these really great instructional videos. And I highly recommend it, man. Guys, check out Ginny's stuff. We are not sponsored by Ginny D. In fact, she'd probably be looking for sponsors even more than we do, and because she does this professionally. She is a content creator and does it professionally all the time, which is really, really great. So we should
Yeah,
probably
Ginny D,
move
if you're
on.
listening, if you want to come on the show and hang out, talk some nerd shit with us, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great. Please, if you're listening, Ginny D.
I'm sure she's listening, at some point, but
Absolutely. CDs on episode 43 of Vox Machina. Man, that's when it's really you're really starting to get into some great stuff there. If I remember correctly, that's the beginning of the Briarwood, or it's near the beginning of the Briarwood arc. And
I think that's in the middle of the Briarwood arc.
Is it in the middle? I can't remember. It's been so long. But man, you're gonna get into some great stuff. Vox Machina really was. I mean, for me, I adored Vox Machina.
Oh, afterish. So it's near the end. Yeah, okay. The 30s are where they're in the Briarwood arc.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything. Okay. Yeah, because I know, Chris, you're still. Where are you?
I'm. They've gotten, I think, one vestige of divergence so far. They've already done the thing for with Grog's clan and all that. Okay. I'm in the middle of the Chroma Conclave.
Okay, so you're in the Chroma Conclave. That's a big deal. That's some really big deal stuff. So you haven't met Terry Darrington yet.
No,
Terry.
I haven't gotten to Terry. Now, one of the things I'll say about Critical Role, just to get off on that tangent for a second. One of the things I noticed in episode 134 of the second season, and this isn't really a spoiler so much, but so at the beginning, when they did their intro, they do this whole thing with like all the different side characters, and then at the end, the one Red Dragon comes up at the end as and everything, and I like that they changed it in 134 to match what's going on in the story.
Yes, they did, and that was really.
I won't talk about what it is, but I like that they changed it, and the dragon's not there anymore, or it's in shadow, and now it's more to do with what's going on in the actual story of the Mighty Nine.
I agree. That was really fucking cool when they did that.
And that was just kind of, I only half watch it now because I've seen it so many times, but I was watching it on my phone and I went, wait a minute. And I actually rewound it to see it again.
Yeah. They've been doing so. I mean, it's so good. They've done some. I so love that show. I haven't listened to the new one, the new Exandria Unlimited yet. This week, it came out yesterday on YouTube. So I could listen to it on Twitch, but I tend to just listen to them on YouTube at work when I'm working. But that show's been really, really great, and I'm really enjoying that. And then I'm excited to see what is coming next. What is Campaign 3 going to continue?
Yeah, I'm curious because now they've been on both continents. So now I'm curious to see where they wind up with this next one.
Right. You did hear about the new book coming out later this year?
Which one?
The new Critical Role book?
No.
Well, they're doing Tal'Dorei.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're doing the updated Tal'Dorei book.
Mm-hmm. So what it is basically, my belief, even though that the Wildmount book was printed by Wizards of the Coast, this book there's going back to the original printer that printed their first book, and my guess is but they probably own the rights to a lot of the stuff that's in that first book, so they probably are like, if they're going to reprint a lot of it, they probably want to go with that original printer. They probably have to. And what I have heard that Matt and several other writers have added a bunch of new stuff to it, and they are actually going to have stat blocks for Vox Machina.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they're actually going to have their stats and everything, which I thought was, That kind of sucked that they didn't. I mean, they had the stats for the vestiges of Divergence, but it would have been cool to have just, at the back, have the sheet and the stats for each of the characters, and maybe some of the NPCs too would have been really cool.
Like Gilmore?
Yeah, like Gilmore, or and some of the other side characters. I'm going to end up getting the book probably because, well, I like to support the medium and everything, and I've been collecting them and everything. But it's they're really well done. And honestly, anybody that has the original Tal'Dorei book, know that it is out of print now.
Oh, is it?
And it is. I looked it up on Amazon, and there was one available. It was for almost $300.
Wow.
Through a side vendor. Yeah. So it's not, if you find it in some shop, tucked away in some shop or something, it is technically, it's kind of a collector's item now. So
cool.
Get it.
All right, so we should probably get into some stuff that we were actually going to talk about tonight.
Yeah, we've been just kind of bullshitting.
One, I think we can start off with this: the Blizzard lawsuit thing. There's been a lot that's gone on this week. Last Wednesday, there was a walkout at Blizzard in Irvine, California. Wow. Over 500 people attended the walkout. Along with that, to show support, a large group of streamers actually stopped streaming any Blizzard or Activision game that day.
Yeah.
Okay. If they normally did one of those, they didn't. They did something else. It just as a show of solidarity. Cool. As of this morning, the president of Blizzard, J. Allen Brack, stepped down.
Really?
Yes.
The president actually stepped down because of this.
Yes, because of this.
Big fucking deal, man.
Yep.
Holy shit.
So they've now got co-presidents. One of them's only been there for like 2 months. He was a executive vice president. And the other one is a woman who, I guess, she worked for another gaming company for a while, and then she's been really instrumental, I guess, in promoting women in gaming and things like that. So they're saying, I saw a thing where the people that are like heading up the organization of the Blizzard workers that are upset have said that this is the first positive step that they're seeing for this.
Well, that's great. And honestly, if the president of the company didn't know that there was all of this this toxic stuff going on at the company that he runs.
He's been there since 2006.
He's been there since 2006.
And he's been president since 2018. He was one of the head designers of WoW.
Okay, so then if that's the case, he knew. He had to have known about the because if he was originally a designer, he had to have known that shit was that toxic, and he didn't do anything, and then became the president, and he still didn't do anything.
Yep. And
I mean, I get and I understand the whole like, okay, dudes are going to be dudes. A lot of the
that's not acceptable. Though.
It's not acceptable, of course.
That was the thing that everyone always said. Oh, boys will be boys, or right. Dudes will be dudes, guys are guys. That's not acceptable. That's not an excuse.
I'm not saying it is. My point is that's what other people would say, and the majority of gaming professionals, the vast majority of gaming professionals are designers, coders, and whatnot. There's probably a larger percentage of males in that environment. I'm
gonna guess they like a lot like engineering. It's a male dominated.
It's a male dominated industry. I'm sure. I mean, if you get into the actual like the art and the design aspect, you're gonna probably see more girls, but the coding aspect is probably going to be still a lot more guys.
Well, you'd be surprised actually. Where I am at work, IT in general is mostly male dominated too. Mm-hmm. Although you see a lot of women getting into coding. That's actually we have a huge number of women that work on our apps and do a lot of the coding at where I am.
Well, still the point being is it's still probably at least a 75-25 kind of split when it comes to men to women. I'm saying at least it's probably different more, but and because of that, it fostered an environment where guys are gonna be guys. They're gonna be, they're gonna be toxic. They're gonna be, there's gonna be a lot of toxic masculinity. Even in in a place where there's a lot of nerds, man. There's all these fucking nerds, and so I'm not surprised that this was going on. I'm disappointed, but I'm honestly not surprised that this shit was going on and that it took this long for it to be recognized. And I think it's horrible, but I also applaud the people that are coming forward and to make these changes, and to the people in the lawsuit that were like, this can't go on. It just can't fucking go on. So
yeah, I'm looking.
Bravo to them. I heard as well, apparently, because this is happening at Blizzard, Ubisoft came forward too. The people at Ubisoft came forward about toxic work environments as well.
So I would just like to also reiterate the third nerd commandment. This is going back almost 4.5, 5 years for us when we did the nerd commandments. And that is, thou must revere the nerd girl because she is as rare as a diamond and just as valuable.
Yes, correct. Quite correct. No gatekeeping, guys. Oh man, are you really, do you really like to play World of Warcraft? Yes, fuck, you fuck boy.
Why is wait, is my mic going? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Huh, my whole thing just locked up.
Yeah, and you can be heard on the Twitch stream.
Okay, because all my stuff is locked up. I'm not seeing any levels anymore, nothing.
Well, you can still be heard.
Oh, there it goes. It just reset on me. So, yeah, okay, I'm back now. All right, wow, that was weird.
Yes.
So, yeah, but yeah, that's the thing. I mean, there's no reason for that anywhere, period. I mean, I don't get it. I really don't get how anyone would think that was acceptable in what they were doing. It just boggles my mind. I
agree.
But yeah, so things are proceeding. There's still a lot. They still have their basic demands, which I think are completely reasonable, and that's that there's an end to mandatory arbitration. Which basically keeps all these incidents in-house and nothing can go public.
Right.
They want a private, or they want a group of, I think it's a group of employees, a council basically, or a committee set up to evaluate certain things. Well, and review even like the upper management and when things aren't being addressed and things like that. They want transparency in pay.
Okay.
And what people are being paid, because that's another thing, is they're saying that the women were grossly underpaid compared to the men.
Right, I heard that as well. Yeah, it was a great deal of disparity between pay rates and shit.
And I believe, if I remember correctly from what I was reading in the original article, it's an 80-20 split in at Blizzard and Activision.
80-20 split.
Yeah, there's 80% men and 20% women.
Yeah, that sounds correct to me. That sounds like that would make some sense, and it's ridiculous, but I mean that's the thing. That's the other thing. If their hiring practices are like that, then fuck those guys.
Yeah.
But I mean, my belief would be that they're probably hiring as many women as they probably can, because if they don't, they'll get in trouble. But my guess is there's probably not a ton of qualified individuals.
But I mean, some of the stuff though that they were doing in some of those interviews, from what I was reading, like when they were asking the woman who goes in for a cybersecurity job about penetration testing and how often she's penetrated and if she likes to be penetrated.
Oh, for God's
sake. Things like that. I'm like, how do you think that's right to ask in an interview?
That is so illegal and so inappropriate. Unbelievable. Unfucking-believable.
It's fucking insane.
Whoever interviewed her should have been fired immediately.
Yeah.
Oh man, that ticks me off. That really does tick me off. You know.
So yeah, so that's still ongoing. There's still a lot going on there. There's new stuff coming out all the time. I'm hoping that we're going to see some positive changes come out of this for that company. They really do have a talented group, and I don't want to. And that's the thing. I don't want to see.
They put out a quality product.
They do. And from the way it looks, I mean, they've had over 3,000 people sign a petition basically saying that the company's original response to this, which is that's not our Blizzard. They had over 3,000 signatures from employees saying that's a shit response.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, I'm hoping that this turns things around because they have put out good games.
Yeah,
and I mean, I think anyone that has participated in that behavior and all that stuff, yes, there should be some punitive repercussions for that. And
hey, if some of these guys are willing to recognize the problem, recognize their toxic behavior, turn it around, maybe go to some sensitivity training, go to some therapy. I'd be, me personally, I'd be like, okay, give them a second chance.
To an extent. It depends on what they were doing.
Right, exactly.
Like the supervisor that was passing around nude photos of a woman at the Christmas party?
Fired. Gone. Fired. But somebody who just made like a couple of ribald or off-color jokes that maybe it made people a little uncomfortable. Yeah, let's see if that guy can maybe be retrained to be a better human being. But yeah, some asshole that was like, hey, did you see? I got Heather. I got some naughty pictures of Heather. I found them online or whatever. You got to check this out. I mean, that's fucked up. That's fucked up, man.
Well, actually, the thing is that was the woman that wound up killing herself because of that. Well, that was one of the reasons, and it's because she was actually involved with him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and see, now that's horrible. That's fucking.
And it's also horrible. it's a supervisor dating someone who's a subordinate, or
and that's the other thing.
Yeah,
he shouldn't have that should not have happened. He should not have been able to do that. That's fucked up. You're not supposed to date your subordinates. It's generally in most companies, it's actually like a fireable offense in a lot of companies.
Well, yeah, because it puts them in a precarious position. It makes them fear for their job if they want out.
Some places are like, look, you can date people that you work with, but you cannot date somebody that is your direct subordinate or your direct superior. And that's
but yeah, so hopefully we hear more about that and the positive things that are going to come out of it, out of a very shitty situation in the next few days. Everything I'm reading is that this is probably never going to court.
Probably
they will settle out of court.
Oh yeah.
And they will but it's going to depend on what changes happen, because I think the employees are in the right in insisting that the company needs to meet these certain demands. They're not unreasonable demands. They are perfectly reasonable for the situation, and I think the company's going to have to say, all right, yeah, we'll do it.
Well, yeah, particularly considering the fact that Blizzard sits on a mountain of money.
Yeah,
they've made so much money since World of Warcraft. They were already doing pretty well just from Warcraft and StarCraft. And then I think even Diablo, because I think the first Diablo came out before. Yeah, it definitely did. Came out before.
Well, even like even before World of Warcraft, just the Warcraft games were
that's
huge.
What I'm talking about. Yeah, Warcraft and StarCraft. Before World of Warcraft, they were already a big company. And then World of Warcraft came out, dominated the MMO industry, and they just destroyed. And then when you really think about it, at one point, I think there was something like 8 million people playing World of Warcraft.
I just looked up. I wanted to see what their subscribers were. Yeah. Currently, it's 11.5 million.
11.5 million people. Now, you got to figure at least half of those people are probably, let's say at least a third of those people are still are paying for their subscription.
And at its peak in 2010, they had 12 million.
12 million. At its peak in 2010. 12 million people. It was something like $15 a month.
Yeah, it was. If you paid for like 6 months, you got it down to like $12 a month or something like that, or 13. But still,
let's just say $15 a month at 12 million people. Now, granted, you have to make adjustments for international currencies and stuff, but still, $15 a month for 12 million people.
12. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Well, that's $180 million.
So we'll just say 14.
Okay.
That's 168 million
per month. Per month. Holy shit. You know, and that was back in 2010. You know,
Yeah.
now I know the game is free to play now, at least to a certain level. And then and there's microtransactions now. There's, you know, people paying for all kinds of different things in the game. I have never been a WoW guy. I mean, I played WoW for a little while when I lived with Sean and Sarah Nicolin.
Oh, that 11.5 was actually in 2008. So that's an old article.
Okay. Even if there's 10 million or there's 8 million, there's still, the company has made a lot of money on World of Warcraft, and
populations.
It's incredible. They can afford to pay up, make restitution, make reparation, whatever you want to call it.
So, according to MMO populations, World of Warcraft is estimated to have 116,471,123 total players or subscribers.
Did you say 116 million people playing that game?
What it says.
116.
That's 3.32 million per day.
Fuck them. Fuck all of them. Unfucking-believable.
Although it says that their sub count has dropped 41% since their last thing came out.
Right. Well, the shine is starting to wear off that nickel a little bit. You know, it is the longest lasting and one of the older MMOs.
What I have a feeling is that that's how many people have played it since the beginning, maybe?
Yeah. It's not necessarily people that are playing every day.
Right. And it's not people that are playing right now. It's and I guess Final Fantasy 14 is trying to pull people in from WoW.
Wow. Okay. But then you also when they brought out Overwatch last year.
Blizzard did,
years ago.
Yeah, which is a huge PvP online game.
A huge fighting game, or not fighting game, but first-person shooter.
Yeah, well, it is a fighting game. It's
right.
It's player team versus player team.
Right, exactly, and it's a big.
I played it. It's kind of fun, but it's one of those things where it's a Twitch game, and I don't. Which, you know, you got to be really quick and got to know how to move, and I'm not real good with the controllers, and I've got it on the PS5, and I've just never been really good at it. So.
Right. For me personally, I have played it. My ex-roommate Amanda, my friend Amanda, and was really good. She got pretty competitive. She could have probably competed actually. I played it. It was fun, but it's just not my jam. I like a game I like an RPG. I like a game that's got a serious storyline that you can improve your character and stuff like that. And you don't do that so much in this game. So more power to you. I think it's a fantastic game. I've heard that I believe they're working on an Overwatch 2. And I mean, great, fantastic. I love the character design. The characters are all really great, really cool.
Okay.
Some really fun stuff, but it's just
there we go.
Game. But
4.88 million as of 2020.
Regular subscribers.
Yes.
Wow.
That's their suggested player count.
Okay, so it's much lower than it was 10 years ago.
Yes.
Even so, that's still almost 5 million subscribers per month at $15 to $20 a piece.
Yeah.
They're still making dumb amounts of money.
Oh, yeah.
So, fuck those guys. They can pay out. Pay up. Blizzard, pay up. Just do it. Just pay up.
So, To move on, over the weekend, I
let's move on.
actually finished 2 series that I've been watching on Netflix.
Yeah.
One was Shadow and Bone, and I got to say,
Cool.
just real quick on that, because I know you're still watching it, right?
Yeah, we still have a couple episodes left.
So I liked it. I thought it was cool. I never read the books, so I don't have anything to compare it to there. But I'm looking forward to the next season. It's already been renewed for a second season.
It was renewed even before it came out.
I'm looking forward to it. There are some characters that I really like that I want to see more of. It's another one of those shows though where the main character isn't my favorite character. I really think she's kind of
Okay, who's your favorite character?
Actually, I like the gunslinger guy.
Okay.
He's just
the main characters. Oh no, the gunslinger. Okay.
I forget his name, but yeah, I actually like that entire group.
Sure.
I like the assassin girl.
Yeah.
And the guy with the cane. I'm blanking on all their names right now, but
I was just gonna say I can't remember their names. Can you?
No,
it's okay. Neither can I right now. Neither can I.
But yeah, overall, really enjoyed the show. Look forward to the next season.
All right. I agree. I've been enjoying what I've seen so far.
Hi, Dresden.
Hi, Dresden. Hi, buddy. I know.
But the other show that I finished was Masters of the Universe.
So good.
I thought it was good. I don't know that I would say it's so good,
well,
but I understand the disappointment in the way that it ended, and I know that it's only the first half of the first season, but
correct.
I want to see what's going to happen. The way that it looks like they ended it, I can understand people being pissed. I was a little pissed at the way they did it. Mm-hmm. But I'm willing to see where it goes and see what happens with the second half of the season. So
okay, but the thing is, you're not one of those toxic fucking dipshits online that's like, I don't like it because it doesn't have He-Man in it.
No, actually, I couldn't care less about that part.
Right. That's one of the things that one of the biggest complaints about the show is that they took He-Man and Skeletor out of the show in the first episode, and you only see them in flashback a few times. We don't actually get. It's not a He-Man show. Well, no, it's Masters of the Universe.
Yep.
And there's a lot of characters. In fact, in my opinion, Teela was in almost every episode.
Yep.
Of the original show.
But so was Man at Arms.
And so was Man at Arms. She was vastly underutilized.
Mm-hmm.
I'll admit she was Dresden. That's enough. I'll admit that she was never a damsel in distress. She was always a warrior, and whatnot. She was Adam's bodyguard, for crying out loud. But she still was we never got to really see her shine as a warrior, in my opinion. So her being able to kind of step out of He-Man's shadow and for this story, I loved it. Fucking loved it. And I loved that Evelyn was also a major character.
Yeah, they did. They dove into her quite a bit too.
Yeah.
In some of them, and I like that. But it's also, I can see. I mean, they could have called it, Mistresses of the Universe, because it really was all about that group, which is fine. If that's the way they want to take the story, I have no problems with it. I was amazed at how much Triclops, who was kind of a secondary character a secondary bad guy in the original, became like the big bad guy in a lot of the show. He was like
he kind of replaced Skeletor in a lot of ways, because he took over the whole we have to embrace technology because magic is gone. It has deserted us. You know who voiced him? Henry Rollins.
Yeah,
which was also very fucking cool. Now again, one of the best parts about the show, honestly, too, was the voiceover actresses and actors. The voiceover cast was amazeballs, and I mean, Sarah Michelle Gellar was Tila, and I'm
And
just
she was
like, oh my
spectacular
God.
as Tila
She was
too.
really great, you know. We haven't seen. I personally, you know, she's taken us. I haven't seen a ton from her of late. She's taken kind of a big step back from performing, but to see her kind of step back in as Tila, I was
Yeah, the last thing I
really
saw her
excited.
in was that Robin Williams show.
Yeah, she did that show with Robin Williams. I loved I loved Lena Headey as Eva Lynn. I thought she was perfect. I'm really looking forward to seeing some more of the characters too. Like seeing, it was interesting that the characters they did use, a lot of them were a little more obscure. Mossman, Stinkor, Roboto. These were characters that, yeah, they showed up on the show maybe once and there were action figures for them, but they weren't major characters. There weren't characters we saw all the time, like Beastman and Merman
Well, it
and
was cool to see both of them in
Orko.
there, and Merman being voiced by Kevin Conroy
Yep,
was cool.
it's really cool.
And Beastman, I really liked him when they brought him in.
I did too. Because I'll tell you why. Beastman's a badass, but in the original cartoon, he was always kind of made out to be kind of Skeletor's clown. He was always fucking up. He was just this big brute. But if you actually read the comic books and stuff, Beastman's kind of nasty. He's a pretty scary badass. And I liked how they kind of leaned into that more so when they introduced him in the show.
Well, that he was fully dedicated to Evil Lynn.
Right. Exactly.
And I like some of the comments though. The evil wasn't there. I added that later.
Yeah, I added that later. I loved the backstory about Orko and about how when Evil Lynn and Orko kind of had to work together and kind of built a bond a bit. Now, from what I understand, Kevin Smith, and there's a bunch of people that are now complaining about this as well, that Kevin Smith's some of the story arcs in the next 5 episodes are going to be dealing with Evil Lynn more so. As the first 5 dealt a lot with Tila and her growth, the next 5 are going to be dealing a lot with with Eva Lynn. I am also very much excited to see how they're going to, how they're going to deal with Prince Adam. Now, I don't believe, he also said, this was another thing that Kevin Smith had stated, and I'm pretty sure I talked about this last week too, was, one of the statements he said is, do you really think that Mattel is going to give me a shit ton of money to make this cartoon about one of their most beloved franchises, and I'm gonna and allow me to kill off the main character? Grow the hell up, and because that's true. I mean, they're not gonna let him kill off He-Man or Skeletor. It's not gonna happen. Killing off characters like Orko, or so where sacrificing himself for for the greater good, or Roboto, or things like that, that is believable, and that's like, okay, I could get behind them doing that, but they're not going to kill off He-Man or Prince Adam. It's just not going to fucking happen. Prince Adam just got ran through by Skeletor. It was a bit off. It was a bit to the side. He didn't like stab him right in the back. It was a bit to the side.
Kitty shot.
Yeah. So my guess is they're going to rescue Adam, and he's going to eventually be able to reclaim the power and become He-Man again.
So it looks like what I'm seeing here, Sarah Michelle Gellar's been doing quite a bit of voice work, actually.
Voice work, yeah.
I mean, she did a couple episodes of The Simpsons. She did a couple episodes of American Dad. She did the Crazy Ones, which was that show. Right. She was Cinderella in the Princess Rap Battle, Cinderella versus Belle.
She was. I saw that was great.
She did a recurring role for, looks like 6 episodes of Star Wars Rebels.
Okay. I was just thinking more so like I hadn't seen her in too many.
She did 1 episode of Big Bang Theory.
She did. She did the last episode.
Is that the last one?
Yeah, she was in the last episode where Sheldon was.
I've only ever seen the last episode once.
Yeah, where she's in the audience where Sheldon is accepting his award, his Nobel Prize, and like she's essentially Raj's date, and she goes, "I'm married, right?" Yeah.
And then she has a new series that's in pre-production, it looks like, called Hot Pink.
Okay, cool. It's great. I'm glad to see her, still out and about. Apparently her husband, Freddie Prinze, is on the new Punky Brewster show.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I think he plays her love interest or her ex-husband, maybe her ex. I don't know. The kid's dad. Her kid's dad.
Oh, you know what? I didn't realize that was him. I started watching that. I actually watched the original Punky Brewster.
Yeah. We were, of course, we were like kids back then, of course.
Yeah. It looks like that Hot Pink show also has David Arquette in it.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. So.
Well, I am extremely excited and looking forward to the rest of He-Man and the rest of Masters of the Universe Revelations. And I think that everybody, all these toxic assholes out there in the internet that are like crying and whining because they think Kevin Smith ruined their show. I say, how about you wait until at least the end of the first season before you start making these incredible, like ridiculous, like comments.
People do that when they've seen the fucking
trailer,
45-second trailer.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I hate it when that happens too. And you got to really consider the storytelling. You got to consider the writing of this show. It is not a show. The original show was built for kids. It was made for a child's audience. This show is not. It's going to be a lot more mature.
No, this show is made for kids, but it's made for the kids of the original He-Man show.
Within all of us.
Yeah, well, it's made for those same kids that watched the original He-Man show.
Right.
That are no longer kids. And so he made it much more of an adult show. There's a lot more blood. There's a lot more gore. You didn't see people getting killed in the first one. It's like G.I. Joe. Nobody actually died.
Right.
Exactly. It's why stormtroopers can't hit anything.
Right, exactly. Because they just, they don't want to depict anybody dying. I think even in the G.I. Joe, the first G.I. Joe, like animated film with Serpentor and stuff like that, and Duke gets stabbed with one of Serpentor's like snakes that he extends, like a live snake that he turns into a spear or a javelin or whatever. The guy, there was blood splattered and everything, and he was in a coma, but he still survived, It's just,
I don't think I've ever actually seen that movie.
Oh, I did. Yeah, it was in the theater. It had Sergeant Slaughter in it. It had
CD said he loved that movie.
Sure. It was like I said, Sergeant Slaughter was in it, and Don Johnson played a role.
Speaking of G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes movie comes out like next week too.
It's out.
Oh, is it out now?
Yeah, it's out.
It's already out?
I think it might be on HBO Max too, but I'm not sure. I've been meaning to catch it.
I might watch it on there, but
yeah.
The Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow were my favorites. They were always my favorite characters on G.I. Joe.
Yes, Storm Shadow, and it was interesting to note how in the comic book, Storm Shadow actually became more of a good guy over time.
Yeah.
According to the lore.
It's another one of those, he was so popular that they had to make him a good guy. Exactly. And that's the thing. Like, I saw a thing, and this is just a little side note, but it said Venom is a great example of a villain that got turned into somewhat of a hero because of their popularity, and the writers made that change.
Exactly.
Magneto, on the other hand, is a villain that's kind of turned into a hero because every year since the Reagan era, you have to admit that he's actually kind of right.
It's harder to deny that he's not right.
Yeah.
Which is very true. I mean, Magneto's message was quite often like, originally it was like, we're mutants and we're superior, so we should rule. And Xavier's message was, no, we should live with the humans. We're not superior just because we have powers. We're all equal and stuff. And eventually over time, Magneto got to the point where it was more so, he was like, they softened his message more so to the point where we should never be oppressed. We are
Yeah.
superior. We are homo superior. We should never be oppressed, and we should be a ruling class.
And the humans will destroy us if they can.
Right. And so we need to protect ourselves, and he would do anything he could to protect the mutants. So it was more like it was one of those messages that people could kind of like rationalize a little bit more.
Well, I mean, the X-Men period have always been about civil rights.
Exactly.
That's what that entire comic has been since day one.
Yep. Exactly. And Magneto has been through some shit. I mean, if you've seen the movies, that was taken the origin was taken out of the comics, man.
Yep.
He was in a concentration camp. He was I think, I mean, I'm trying to remember. Originally, I don't think he was Jewish. I think originally they had actually made him out to be, because the Romani were some of the first people to be put into the concentration camps, even before the Jews were. I think so. Originally, he was supposed to be of Romani descent and origin, but then I think later on, they just kind of lumped him in as being a Jewish survivor, a concentration camp survivor. And I'd have to look it up for sure, but I think that was the case. And so they made him, particularly when the movies came out, they made him much more of a sympathetic character. And in the first movie particularly, and they also by making him more of a, by concentrating on the friendship that he had with Charles Xavier and showing that. I mean, but the thing is by the time in 2000, by the time the first movie came out, Magneto had been one of those hero, anti-hero, waffling villains. Like he would go back and forth.
He took over the school when Xavier died.
Well, yeah, when Professor Xavier was wounded and had to go off planet to recuperate
with the Shi'ar.
With the Shi'ar, he asked
Magneto to take over. That was at the trial of Magneto, as a matter of fact, because Magneto turned himself in.
Right. Now there's a new there is a new comic book coming out right now, a new one called The Trial of Magneto, because apparently he is under suspicion for killing the Scarlet Witch. From what I believe she died at the end, or died in one of the comics that I don't buy, like the Marauders or something like that. So I don't know all the details surrounding her death. And considering the fact that in the Marvel Universe right now, they've established that any of the mutants that die can essentially be reborn and resurrected through the use of like 5 different mutant powers in conjunction. They can basically be recreated and reborn. So anybody that dies.
How convenient.
Yeah, it's a thing. The things that they're doing with X-Men right now are unfucking-leavingly cool. I mean, some really, really great stuff they're doing with the X-Men right now. I haven't read them in entirety because they're kind of at the back of my comic book box to read. But I usually at least peruse them before I put them in the box and for more serious reading later. And they are really, really, the stuff they're doing with the X titles has been really cool. They're really, some people are saying they're putting them in the position to be the premier like superhero group in the Marvel Universe, which is interesting considering a couple of years ago they were like kind of giving the X books like less attention because they didn't have the rights to them anymore. Because Marvel didn't have the movie rights to them.
And that was the thing. That's what they were saying, was they're killing off the X-Men books to try and get 20th Century Fox to give up the rights. Right. And then Disney just went and bought 20th Century Fox. Right.
That's why that was the growing rumor, that was one of the reasons why like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was concentrating on the Inhumans instead of trying to make the Inhumans kind of a thing. And so the comic books did the same thing. They were concentrating on the Inhumans and trying to make them a new source of new superhumans. And then when Marvel finally bought Fox and finally had the X-Men back under their umbrella completely for television and movies, then they're like, okay, let's go back to concentrating excuse me, let's go back to concentrating on the mutants again, because it's guaranteed money in the bank.
Yep.
So so now we've been seeing over the last like 2 years or 3 years them concentrating on the X-Men. I'd say the last year and a half. They've really been amping up that and amping up the X-Men lore. It's been really cool. I'm excited to see what they're going to do.
Cool.
They terraformed Mars, Chris. They terraformed Mars.
Okay.
That's what in one of the latest things they did.
The X-Men did that,
Mars.
or
the X-Men? No, the mutants.
The mutants terraformed Mars.
All the mutants got together. They terraformed Mars.
Okay, so that they have a planet of their own that they can just go
Essentially, yeah. So they have a planet they can go to now, and they have established Mars as the seat of power for the Sol system, for our solar system. So when aliens come to our solar system to deal with humanity, they go to Mars, but not to
talk with the mutants rather than with humans.
Correct.
Okay. Interesting. All right, so I just said a couple other things that I wanted to touch on.
Right.
One, speaking of Mars, actually, I saw a trailer for a movie that I hadn't heard of before called Settlers. It looks like it's from what is it? It's an online independent movie channel, IMC, or whatever it is. Basically, it looks like it's this couple and their daughter settling on Mars, and there's people attacking them, and it looks like a thriller kind of movie, like a suspense thriller,
right?
With some action in it too. So maybe even a little horror. It looks like it could be good. I was actually kind of surprised.
Cool.
But the other thing I saw tonight was the trailer for Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. It's a new video game coming out based on Avatar. And the only thing I'll say, because I don't know what the gameplay is going to be like, because it looks like it's a cutscene that they're basically showing you in the trailer, of course. But the graphics look unfucking amazing, or unfucking believable. A fucking amazing. They are they look absolutely insane. I'm gonna grab the trailer for it and put it up on Nerds after the show here. But
yeah, I'd love to see it.
It looks incredible. I'm not a huge Avatar fan, but I think that the movie was all right, but the story I think was a little heavy-handed.
Okay.
And that yes, humans destroy whatever they come across. They just,
Well, that's always been the case.
Yeah, they don't care about the environment. They just, take whatever they want. And getting hit over the head with that 2x4 repeatedly during the movie just kind of like, overall I thought it was a decent movie, but I also don't know, it's not one that I go and watch all the time.
Sure, yeah.
And visually it was stunning. But the game looks cool. It's supposed to come out next year. But yeah, and the graphics look amazing. And the only other thing is that I am fully caught up on Bad Batch now. We're getting near the end of season 1 with that. Which, if you don't know what that is, it is a Disney Plus animated series based on the clone, what happens after Order 66 is given, and all the Jedi are killed off by the clone troopers. This is a group of defective clones, basically, who didn't really get their inhibitor chips, or their basically their order chips. Their chip that makes them follow orders directly failed in them, and so they don't know what's going on. They're chasing after this one little Padawan, who actually is somebody from later on in the shows, I guess. But he escapes, and they're chasing after him, and they're like lying to the other troopers, like, oh no, he fell, and because they don't know what's going on. And it's really a cool show because you're seeing the evolution. You're seeing them trying to survive,
Mhm.
and they're being hunted down by the Empire because one of their number was captured and they got his chip working again.
Ah,
And so now, or no, his chip just started working again. That's what it was, and he turned on it. And he's now he's actually the first Death Trooper.
Oh, wow, cool. Very cool.
And he has his own little group of black troopers. And they're going around and hunting. They're trying to hunt these guys, hunt down. It's 99.
Okay.
They're Unit
Well,
99. But yeah, it's really cool.
My buddy John was just telling me just yesterday about how great it is. I mean, he was
It is,
saying
and
that
you don't have to have seen Clone Wars to get this.
He did say that it helps.
It
to
does
watch Clone
help
Wars,
because there is some crossover.
right. But he did say he advised like going online and finding the listing, the episode listing, the list that takes out all of the fluff episodes, all the throw episodes, so you can just get the meat of the storyline. And then you can, but I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch Clone Wars eventually.
I'm in the middle of the third season of Clone Wars because I'm still watching that too. But right now where they're at, I think they just did episode 11, or 13. It was 13, and I think there's 16 episodes. You're now seeing the transition from the clones to the regular troopers.
Yeah,
and how they're doing that.
Also, what he was saying, yeah.
And you're seeing what they did to the Kaminids, and why we didn't hear about them after that.
The what?
The Kaminids, the cloners.
Oh, okay. Okay.
From Camino.
Come from Camino, right?
Yeah, they're called Kaminoids or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, it is outstanding, and there's no real fluff episodes. Every one of these episodes moves the story along. It may not move the overall story, but the internal story with that group is moving along.
Okay.
It's really a cool show, and
I am looking forward to getting into that show. I'm getting into I've just so many shows, so many things to watch. So that is really cool. I do.
Yeah, someone competent did the series. It's Filoni.
Yeah, and see that's the other thing. My friend John had stated that that the shows are really the best Star Wars.
Yep.
With Mandalorian, Bad Batch, with Clone Wars, we're seeing the best of Star Wars.
I've heard a lot of people love Rebels too.
Yeah, Rebels as well. Said Rebels. That the best. I'm also a nerd with alcohol. TJ Rizzo. Oh, hey, okay. Is that? That is my friend Tracy, I believe. Hey, Tracy.
Hey, Tracy.
We miss you. Great. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, it is. Okay. That is my sister of my heart right there. But yeah, I mean, all of the best Star Wars these days is coming is on television, is on the TV, as opposed to the movies. The TV shows have been just fantastic, and the movies, although there was good and bad aspects of them, and we're all gonna love the movies no matter what too, to some extent. The just truly the best stuff that's been coming out has been from on the TV shows, and I think one, because they have more time to tell bigger stories and grander stories, and honestly, the people that are doing the shows right now are just they're passionate. They're fans, man. They're not just doing it for the paycheck. They love Star Wars.
You've got Filoni, who is a huge Star Wars fan, and he's doing everything he can right now to bring as much of the canon that people loved back in. He's brought Thrawn back in and made him canon again. Right. Exactly. And things like that. So I think I trust what he's doing, and what I'm blanking on his name now. I'm blanking on all names tonight. The guy that did Mandalorian.
Not Vince Vaughn, but
yeah.
Happy.
Happy.
Happy from
Favreau.
Iron Man movies.
Jon Favreau.
Jon Favreau. Thank you.
I like his name starts with an F too. I just can't think of it. It's Jon Favreau. Yeah. What he's doing with Mandalorian has just been incredible. I mean, the two of them together, I think, could completely relaunch the Star Wars universe.
I agree. So we got to start wrapping things up, but I did want to mention real quick. My friend John just got he bought the D20 Star Trek role-playing game, the main core rule book for it.
Okay.
And I glanced through it the other day, and I was like, wow, this looks really fucking cool. And I think I'm going to look into it a little bit more. I think I'm going to maybe even pick up the book eventually, because it just looks badass, and I really want to check this out. You guys might want to check it out. It is a D20 system, so it would be a variation on the Dungeons and Dragons system, and at least on some level, and it just looks really fucking badass. So you guys may want to check that out. That's just what I wanted to mention right there.
Cool.
Was about it.
Well, tonight when I was on Twitch getting things set up, they put a big banner up saying, "Welcome back, drinking nerds. You're almost at whatever the next status is."
Yeah.
And it's basically we've hit everything. We need 6 more followers. We're at 44.
Right. It says 45 on.
According to their according when I log into our thing, they say it's 44.
Oh, well, maybe we lost one. I don't know. But yeah, it says about drinking nerds, says 45 followers. So guys, if like Tracy, if you're not following us on Twitch, that'd be great if you could follow us. We got guys, yeah, we need like 6 more. That'd be really great. We get us to the next tier, we get more. I think what it does, it spreads
it lets our videos stay up longer.
Okay.
Is the biggest thing for us. Is it lets our videos stay up longer.
Yeah.
It lets more people see them. One of the things I've noticed is that, well, I looked at our numbers and I'm like, yeah, that's not so great. But I look at other people, like another podcast that we've both been on and had on our show, who have like 550 followers on Twitch, but they're getting like 0 to 1 to 2 views for each of their videos. And we're getting 17, 20, 25, even 40 on some of them.
Yeah. And at the same time, we also, on the other things that we put the show up on, and like all of the other, the different, what are they? Just all the places you can find quality podcasting.
Yes.
We get a lot more downloads and stuff and views and whatnot from that. So that's nice too. But it would be great to get to that next level here on Twitch. We'd really, really love that. So if anybody can.
I was going to tell you, because I was looking at it the other day, and actually I'm going to pull up the latest stats. We are just over 23,000 downloads in our career.
Wow, that's great. That's really great. Particularly since we have how many 238 episodes now?
Yeah. So
that's roughly like what?
100 an episode.
100 an episode. I mean, average.
Yeah.
So, hey, we're getting there. We guys, one of the things we really want to do is we want to start really promoting the show now that COVID is happening. We're getting or COVID is kind of, although the Delta variant is causing an issue, a problem these days. We do still, a lot of people are still agreeing that we are seeing the closer to the end of the pandemic, and we're coming to a light at the end of the tunnel. Once that is done, we really want to start promoting the show some more. So if you guys have some suggestions as to where we can go, what we can do, who we can talk to, subjects that we can explore, let us know. Let us know in the comments. Let us know on our Facebook page. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us here on Twitch. And get involved. Get involved in what we do and what we are continuing to do, which is interesting nerd conversation while drinking alcohol.
Huge thanks to CD, who's really just become part of the show at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, we need to contact CD. We need to contact you at some point, maybe even just have you as a guest on the show, because I think it would be great. It's just zoom in from wherever you are. I know you're not in Michigan, but you can zoom in from wherever, I'm sure. And we'd love to see, put a face to a name, and really, hey, it's sure sometime, and that'd be cool. So I don't know, Chris. We should probably wrap things up.
Yeah, I think that's that should pretty much do it for tonight. So,
all right, guys, be sure to check us out in all the places that you can find quality podcasting. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on iTunes, Google Play Store, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Odyssey app, the Odyssey app, and of course, you can download and stream all of our episodes at www.nerdswithalcoholshow.com. We are here every Tuesday at 8 o'clock here on the Drinking Nerds Twitch channel, and we put that episode up on Drinking Nerds on YouTube a couple of days later.
Yeah, unless it's this week when I haven't put last week's up yet. Unfortunately, I realized that with everything I had going on last week, I was on call plus all the other stuff I had going on. I didn't get anything up. I've got both last week's Nerds ready, and I have to get the previous, not last week's, but the week before, or the one before's Tavern Nights up. And then I have to see if I can salvage anything out of last week's Tavern Nights. So
it was that was not your fault, man.
No, but
not your fault.
It feels like I feel like a failure when I'm running into that issue. So it's part of my perfectionist nature.
I get it. I feel you on that, man. I feel you. All right.
So, all right. Well, I think. You can follow us on most of the social medias. We are on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show. We are on Twitter at Drinking Nerds, Instagram Drinking Nerds, and we are also on Untapped, the beer drinking app or beer rating app, and you can just search for Drinking Nerds, send us a friend request, and we will get you added. So,
awesome.
All right. Well, I think.
Oh, hey, just real quick, CD. Next Saturday, or this coming Saturday, I'm going to be in Kenosha. I'm going to go to the Bristol Renaissance Festival. So I don't know if that's anywhere near you, but that's I'm going to be for my first time going to the Bristol Ren Fair in Kenosha, Wisconsin. So it's right over the border of Illinois, about a half an hour from Chicago. So, anywho's, yeah.
All right. Well, I think on that note. Until next time.
Sláinte.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
That was all right.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.